Hi, this is Rajiv and welcome to Word in Brief. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe. Yes, we continue to live in a lockdown. We continue to live in a time where uncertainty seems to loom large and the fear of the unknown, in a sense, seems to be accompanying us. But we've got nothing to fear because we follow the Good Shepherd. But in the midst of this situation, right, I want to share with you a word that God's put in my heart. It's a word that's found in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29 and verse 11. It's a familiar verse. It's a verse of reassurance which we have used so many times in the past, but yet again a reminder for us at this season that we find ourselves in. So, what does it say? God says there, I know the thoughts that I have for you, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. You see, other translations of the Bible also use the word plan for thoughts. I know the plans that I have for you. I've got good plans for you. And what confidence does this assurance give us that when God looks at us and says, no matter what situation you may find yourself in right now, no matter how bleak it may sound, but I know the plans that I have for you. I've got good plans for you. I've got plans for a good future and a lot of hope in store for you. But I want you to focus on the word plan. The question that comes in my mind, and often I keep getting asked the question, is great, I'm so happy that God's got good plans for me, but how do I understand the plans of God? How do I understand the specific nature of the plan of God concerning my life? Because often what happens is, if you go pursuing a perceived plan or a perceived idea thinking that that is God's plan for you and it isn't God's plan for you, it can really make the situation worse, isn't it? So understanding what the specificity of God's plan is super critical. So how do you understand the plan of God? I want you to focus on the word plan, and I kind of made it like an acronym, PLAN, right? P stands for pray for clarity. Seek God for and ask Him to give you clarity and clear specificity with regards to the plan that He has for you. You're probably saying, hey, but Raji, will God speak to me? Of course He will speak. Of course He will tell you what His plans are for you, right? All that we need to do is to ask Him. The Bible says, and Jesus tells us, that seek and you will find. Knock and it shall be open. Ask and it shall be given to you. We need to be an asking type of people. And not asking this person or that person, but asking God and say, Lord, you have promised me good plans. You have led me thus far. I really want to understand what is the plan that you have for me. Because once I understand what the plan you have for me, I can participate in that plan with you. The letter L stands for listen to the voice of God. And I think we need to develop the ability to tune into the voice of God. The voice of God. God speaks to us through His Spirit. God speaks to us through His Word. But the question is, are we listening, right? We're surrounded by a cacophony of noises. There are different noises around us. And often we get deaf to the still small voice of God because we're so keen listening to the noise around us. We need to listen to the voice of God. You know, I want to draw your attention to Noah, right? Noah lived in a generation which wasn't so great, right? And that's why God singled out Noah, because God was pleased with the character and the lifestyle of Noah. And God speaks to Noah and reveals to him what his plans are, and also clearly tells him what his part is in that whole plan. You know, I'm amazed, despite the noise, Noah was able to listen to the voice of God. So L is about listening and recognizing the voice of God. A in the word plan stands for aligning with the instructions of God. Aligning with the instructions of God. God will give you instructions. He won't just tell you what your plan is only, but He'll also tell you what you need to be doing, right? What should you be doing now? What should you be doing later? What should you be stopping to do right now? What should you be starting to do now? Are all part of the instructions. And God says, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. He says, I will guide you continually. He says, I will teach you how to profit. I mean, He's very clear with instructions. Again, go back to the life of Noah. God told him build an ark, but He didn't stop there. He gave him specificity. He gave him measurements. He gave Noah the length of the ark, the breadth of the ark, the kind of wood that needs to be used, right? I mean, he's a God of the universe, but he's a God of the details as well. So when God tells you his plan, he will also tell you the instructions, right? And you and me need to align with the instructions. And I think this is where we need to suspend leaning on our own understanding. We read in Proverbs, right? Trust in the Lord with all your heart, right? Lean not on your own understanding, right? You want to participate in the plan of God. I want to participate in the plan of God. Well, then you got to suspend leaning on your own understanding and instead align with the instructions of God. And the instructions of God can be radical, right? It can seem illogical, but that's where faith kicks in. And you got to say, hey, God said it. I'm going to do it because God said it. Even if it doesn't make sense, even if I look funny building an ark when everybody's laughing at me and saying, what rain, as in the case of Noah, I will do exactly what God said, right? And I will align with the instructions of God. The last alphabet in the word plan is N. N stands for never get distracted from God and his plans. Never get distracted from God and his plans, right? You need to keep your eyes on God. You need to focus on what he's saying. You just need to not look to the attractions of the world and the distractions, not look at the disturbance and get disturbed. You got to do what God is asking you to do and never get distracted with that, right? I like this incident of Peter walking on water. Well, he got out of the boat. He aligned with the instructions. He had clarity with God. God told him, he told Jesus, Lord, if it's you who's asking me to step out of the boat, tell me, I will step out. Jesus said, yes, come. And he obeyed the instructions. He walked on water, but for a moment, just a moment, his focus was distracted by the noise of the waves and the wind, which was very boisterous. And the moment he took his eyes off Jesus, right, he began to sink. So never get distracted with the attractions, distractions, and the disturbances around you. Jesus has called you. He's told you what you need to do. Just do it, despite the fact if you're surrounded by a storm or a virus. No problem. If God has told you something, just do it, right? So I want to tell you, this is how you participate in the plan of God in your life. And when you participate in the plan of God, you will see God accomplish the plan which he has for you. And remember what kind of plan he's got for you. He's got a plan to prosper you. So P, pray for clarity. L is about listening to the voice of God. A is about aligning to the instructions of God. And N is never get distracted from the plan and God himself. God bless you, and be rest assured that God's got a good plan for you and your family. God bless you.